I have resided at the river briefly for a little short amount of time. Now, in the nice weather, all sorts of people come down here, but it used to be strictly derelicts, which was a bit more my style. So I like to come down here and think, you know, it's a cool spot. Like, this is where I'm from, right here, like a dirtbag down by the river. I didn't even have the van, you know, live in the van by the river. I just had the river. Mayo Island over there. A couple of homeless encampments out there, you know. I know one or two people out there, and hard times living on the river in January, you know. It's cold as fuck out here. Music is the only reason why I'm not in prison or dead, you know. I'm a dude who came from a little redneck town, and I didn't fit in. It was horrible, and music definitely got me through it, you know. Yeah, man, it just made me feel not so alone, you know. I was like, someone else out there thinks like I do. And it's been my life ever since. I'm still constantly surprised. I cruise around the world and people get my lyrics tattooed on them. I've seen my portrait. It's like, what is going on, you know? I fly around the world and get paid to scream. I feel like they're gonna find out. I don't know who they are or what they're gonna find out, but they're gonna find out and it's all gonna be over real quick, you know? So when they find out, I guess you can come find me back down here. It's going good, you know. It's first day of practice for the upcoming album cycle. And those guys are in there making noise on their guitars and banging on the drums, and I'm outside doing press. A lot of the writing for me came out of, I guess, me looking at where I am as a 40-year-old man, you know, a year or two sober, taking a look at where I am and being like, what the fuck, you know? That's kind of like the greatest compliment I can get. I was having a really hard time in my life, and your music helped me get through that, you know? And that's a huge, huge compliment to me, you know? Because that's what music did for me, and to think that I can do that for someone else is it's a wonderful, humbling, and exhilarating sort of feeling. It's gonna sound like shit today.
Just take your channel volume right here. Oh, yeah.
Just remember to put it back there.
For people that don't know and people that might not have heard you, how would you describe your music? I mean, when we talked, you said inaccessible music, but... Yeah.
I think I said unlistenable.
A lot of people will ask me, you know, what's the good stuff today? What's the hot new metal bands, you know? Because people will talk about Metallica and Anthrax and Slayer and Megadeth, and then there's the question mark, who's after that? I will always point to Lamb of God.
Lamb of God is one of a very small handful of bands that are at this particular plateau, which is they're not a household name that everybody talks about, but at the same time, they're one of the biggest heavy metal bands around. They're at that place where you have diehard fans.
People love the shit out of the music because there's always gonna be fucked up shit in the world. People that are suppressed, people that are angry about socioeconomic class, political state of whatever country they're in. Metal has always been a very organic and real, honest outlet to get all those fucking demons out. And so when bands like Lamb of God come into different countries that are struggling right now, this is their time to let it out. I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it.
Wow, okay.
From the very beginning of the band, there was certainly never any thought that we would be doing what we're doing.
It looks like a photo shoot from probably 2000. There was a story in a local paper about us getting that first tour with Guar.
How big are they? Well, let's put it this way. They used to open up for us. That doesn't happen anymore.
We found out we were signing to Prosthetic Records and decided it would be a good time to get together and drink. And then after a few drinks, we decided we should probably do a band photo for the new record deal. And that was an attempt.
I never expected to play the Metro in Richmond, which at the time was the big club. I think it held maybe 600 people.
November of '02, us at CBGB's.
Then when we got to play CBGB's, I was like, we did it. You know, we did everything that is humanly possible for a band to do.
England with Slayer. Ozfest 2007. This is how much fun we had on the Anthrax tour. One tape.
Doing it was the goal. Like just writing a song, recording it, going and playing a club, that was it. Like I never dreamed in 1997 that we would be on tour with Metallica. I never dreamed that we would be nominated for a Grammy or having the #2 record in the country one week.
We have fans in all these different places, and it's been such a slow build. At this point, I think what we're trying to do is just continue the success and get out on the road and, you know, see where it takes us.
It has been a crazy ride, but there's not much peace of mind in being in a rock and roll band because the whole thing could fall off the tracks at any moment for any reason.
It gets hard to leave. I've found it becoming more of a challenge as I've gotten older. I turned 40 this year. And nowadays, the things I look forward to are cutting grass and shooting hoops in the backyard. I'm certainly not a victim of any sort. I get to play guitar for a living, and I never forget the impact that our songs have on the people that listen to us. So I take that very seriously. But at the same time, I have my own life that's Mark Morton. Not Mark Morton, guitar player for Lamb of God, but just Mark, the guy that lives out in Verina and, you know, wants to raise his daughter and be a husband. Watch the skills.
All right. Hey, Mackenzie, where am I going tonight? Going where? With the band? What am I going to do? everybody knows, real metalheads drive Priuses.
We're not in first class. We're not celebrities gallivanting around the world in our private jet with our logo spray painted on the back. If this was our second or third record, you know, all of us would be excited and ready to jump on that plane. But having done it for the past now 12 years, it can be very difficult. We've been through many, many disagreements to the point of literal fistfights, and even now we are far from best friends.
Dude, just shut up. Don't talk to me.
Don't tell me to shut up.
I told you, Dad. Smack me. Smack me.
This is our first ever cover on any magazine. I think it's us really trying to get along and a balance of our, you know, personal lives with this whole entity that is Lamb of God. We have our disagreements, we have our fights, we have our arguments, you know, who ate my last fucking Hot Pocket. But we know that we've got to get out there because the city that we're going into tonight, all these kids, it's their night, you know, night of the week or night of the month, night of the year. I mean, we love doing it. It's our music, but it's their night.
People constantly ask us, oh, what audience is better? Or the audience is here different or audience there different? And I'm like, no, not really. The shows, there's a commonality of the kids, you know? Everybody comes to the shows and you see a lot of the same thing coming out of very different cultural surrounding. I don't know, it's a neat thing. Any show I go to and I see the audience and I see some kid and I look there and I'm like, that's me.
My name is Oscar. I live in Medellin, Colombia. Part-time, I drive a taxi, and I'm a metalhead, full-time. All the time I listen heavy metal in my taxi. I might have to change the wheel because sometimes I get so excited that I start to hitting it. Sometimes it's so stressful that you just wanna take out a machete and start cutting heads in the streets. But I put some metal music and I start to feel better. I would like to show my city as a city that's getting up from all the pain of the 80s and the 90s.
Fugitive kingpin Pablo Escobar apparently has launched another Colombian drug war. 2 car bombs exploded today in Medellin.
Bosses of the Medellin cartel roamed Colombia like feudal lords.
In the 90s, when I was growing up, there's a stigma that you have to be part of a group in order to be someone important in your neighborhood. Now we are in the cemetery where is buried Pablo Escobar, the most famous drug dealer in the world. And somebody green flowers. People think that he was a hero. A lot of my friends joined those gangs, and most of them are dead by now. Yep. Is this my brothers-in-law grave? My 2 brothers-in-law were killed. 2 of my brothers, they have been shot. I had another stepbrother that is dead. Could have been me, many times. This social pressure to get there, and I don't know, in some part of my life I just pretend to be part of it, but never really be part there, 100%. I started to think, I don't want to die, and I don't want to be in jail. I just want to live. And I just step aside and hang out alone all the time. this. Okay. These little things over here help me out to realize that I'm not alone. That I know it because of music, because of rock and metal music. I started to listen music and translate songs and all that, and I realized that identify myself pretty much with those lyrics and those music. So I adopt that as a way of life. When I hear Lamb of God, I hear many things that I think. It's a band that reminds me what I want to be. It's a band that reminds me that I have to be with my head up and not with my head down.
Thank you so much, Colombia. Give yourself one more round of applause, man. Come on. We all have a God. We'll see you next time. Please stay safe.
Thanks for the show,
You
man.
made it, man. Nice to meet you, dude. Are you okay? Did you get hurt?
No, man. It's not a good idea to tie my shoes in the middle of the mosh pit, man.
Oh, no, it's not.
It's been a help, the music that you do for us, man.
Well, thank you.
It's like some kind of dopamine for me.
So that's
1 second, yeah.
That's the biggest.
It's the biggest compliment.
That's the biggest compliment that we can get, man. You know, because like growing up, music is what got me through a lot of shit. 1 second.
When we first started getting together, this was, I guess, late summer, early fall of 1994. This was kind of as much a drinking club as it was a band. It's no stretch of the imagination to say that, you know, we were all pretty heavy drinkers. But I think for Randy, it remained a big part of his life for a long time.
I've been in Scotland for 3 days now, and I sort of sound like a Scottish dude. Sort of. You know, it's no big secret that I used to drink a whole lot. And now we're getting ready to go to the pub, and you'll see what happens. Getting fucked up. It's gonna be a good night.
None of us through this whole process have ever been entirely straight and narrow, but he took it to 11 every day.
Man, you people are fucking freaks! Something's the matter with you people!
I think as much or more than any of us, Randy's drinking began to have negative impacts on the rest of his life.
Calm the fuck down! Right now!
I'm sick of your shit.
You're an idiot, you fucking moron! It's what Randy does when he gets drunk, and it's what we're fucking sick of.
You know, I've been there through the times where he's done some crazy shit. Yeah, I've been around him where I was scared sometimes too, just not scared like he was gonna hurt me, but I just didn't want him to hurt himself.
As you can see, the Metal Fest has gone awry. My head, it hurts very badly. You must sacrifice for rock and roll. All right. On an aquatic adventure into the Dead Sea.
The Randy you see now, the very driven, productive, inspired person that he is, that guy was always there. And I knew that guy, but I just wouldn't see him but maybe for an hour or two a day. And then the other guy was around.
Whoa, that's salty.
I'd just seen him be such a mess for so long. I would dare to say that there's probably a good several years that he doesn't remember what we've been doing.
Yeah, don't get it in your eyes. My eyes, up my nose, it is fucking brutal.
Wow, man. It's been a year and a half now since I've had a drink. For the first like 6-7 months of me being sober, it was nightmarish. Like at times I was like sitting there like crying. I couldn't tie my shoes. It was fucked up. I had like a nervous breakdown, you know? And then I got through it. I just had to ride through it. And now I don't miss it at all, you know? I'm not exactly proud about some things I've done in my life, but I don't really regret them because it's got me to a point now where I can look at them and say, okay, I can do things a better way.
So when it came time to pick a title for our record that came out, and there were a ton of titles thrown around, Randy really got behind Resolution. To him, in his recent change in life, in sobriety and his focus and drive, for him, he wanted to call it Resolution as representing staying on a path, no matter what, picking the right path and going for it, regardless of what comes your way.
This whole record, when I was writing the lyrics, a lot of it was introspective about waking up, you know? And lyrically, if someone gets something positive out of it, I can help people.
Redemption lies in your demise. My redemption lies in your demise. Fuck. I have always been really attached, and I've always found this very strong connection with Randy Blythe because the whole lyrical aspect, the way he writes. Welcome the darkness. Fuck. I just look up to that band as musicians. They've stuck together and been so strong. It's just so inspiring. I'm really excited for the show. Fuck, I can't even imagine. So exciting. I could cry now. I'll hold it. I'll wait for the day. God. Life around Mumbai is, some people from different places call it chaotic. It's a little faster than life in other cities. Actually, all these little things that people notice when they come from outside. You see all these people going crazy. We don't even realize because it's such a regular thing now that it doesn't really make much of a difference. Everyone's quite used to the environment. Heavy metal is not so widespread, at least here. The way I dress is not usual. Tattoos is like, oh, what is she doing? She's spoiling her body. She's not keeping it fine for her husband, and you know, those kind of things. You're just looked at differently around here because it's not like a regular Indian woman. In the train, it's like people sometimes don't come and sit next to me for a long time till there's no place to sit. Like that's when they think, okay, we don't have a choice, we have to sit next to her. As far as I know, I'm one of 2 female vocalists in the country. Some of my friends still can't absorb the fact that I listen to metal. Forget being a vocalist. A lot of relatives tell me, I don't know what you're doing, I don't know why you're doing this. This music doesn't work here. I think it's there, it's the aggression that connects me, the powerful lyrics. There's always this feeling of kind of breaking out, breaking free that's come from this kind of music.
Metal is all about passion. So for me, metal is more like a true companion, and I guess it's the same with a lot of other people in the country.
I've come for my daughter. She really loves Lamb of God, and we've come from Mumbai. We came by train, 24 hours journey.
My first metal concert.
I came 13 hours by train from a place called Ranchi, which is on state Jharkhand, northern India. 24 hours by train.
I came by flight.
I came by train, so it took me almost 2 days.
People go crazy when there are shows. We have some really crazy metalheads out here.
I got this inbox message of this guy saying, dude, I'll be a slave for life. I'll even give you a blowjob if I have to. Can you just let me meet Randy? Dude, I've not replied to it yet.
Oh my God!
All right, India. Let's do a little ghost walking.
Metalheads are crazy down here, crazy. That's a weird thing doing this, because, you know, this type of music and with our fans, we evoke a very visceral, emotional response in these people, a very physical one a lot of the times. And it's awesome and you feed off of it, but sometimes it's just like, fuck, man, you know? They go nuts and you get worried and you're like, ugh. You know, we don't want anybody to get hurt, you know. It worries me sometimes.
We are Lamb of God, and we will be back, we promise.
It's been the festival season, so we play these huge outdoor open-air festivals that Europe is kind of famous for.
Wow, that's a lot of people. I can't believe they're here to see us play. How did this happen?
We were killing it. We were having amazing shows. It was like everything was firing.
I would call my wife and tell her, you know, this is pretty much the best European experience I think I've had.
We are Lamb of God. We'll see you next time.
Most of the time the festivals are on the weekends, so you fill in the weekdays with smaller shows in between. Anywhere we could play, we would play.
Just everyone was exhausted and we were beat up. We're tired, but it's been great shows.
And then we end up landing in Prague. Things could not have shit the bed more. We're getting off the plane and it appears as though there's some kind of, just maybe a random passport check or something.
And I saw what obviously looked like some sort of cops or, you know, armed authority figures there at the end of the runway.
What you would think of SWAT on like their worst day if they're going to raid the biggest drug dealer in the world.
I was like, there must be somebody, some fugitive on this plane or something. You know, that crossed my mind. I was like, wow, we were on the plane with some criminal.
As I'm walking towards them, it's becoming apparent to me that they're picking us out. Once they have us all together, we move into this other room which has like, it had to be 10 guys that looked like it was like a scene from some sort of apocalypse movie.
When they started explaining the whole deal that an incident had happened at our show 2 years prior, I assumed that maybe it was an altercation that had happened outside the venue, because there was nothing that stood out to me about that show of any importance.
I don't know who we were on tour with. I don't know what festivals we did that summer. I don't know. It really all blends together. And so it's like asking, like, what did you have for dinner, you know, July 21st of 2010.
That's when they pulled the paperwork out that had Randy's name on it, calling him a fucking murderer.
They separated Randy from us. They took him away. They told us that he was a suspect in a manslaughter case.
And then it shifted into much more of, we want to know everything you are willing to tell us about Randy's character. Like, we see him in the videos and he's always drinking. Is he a aggressive person? Is he a hostile person?
They asked questions concerning fan involvement at shows like this, and particularly this one.
And then we waited to see what they were going to do with Randy, and they kept him.
Yeah, what? I'm doing lousy, Brian. I got a singer in prison in Czech Republic charged with murder. How do you think I am? We did a show. A fan ran on the stage. He evaded security, ran up to Randy Blythe, and supposedly, and I use the word supposedly in the hardest terms, supposedly Randy pushed him back into the crowd. Nothing then occurred that entire evening. The show finished, everybody went home, the band went on to the next city, the promoter went home, the venue guys went home. There was no report of anything, no ambulance to the show, no disruption to the show. The show finished to the end without incident. Subsequently, supposedly at least 2 hours later, this kid either had a headache, I don't know what the details are, but 2 hours later, this kid went to a hospital via an ambulance from somewhere, I don't think the venue, from somewhere, and from what I'm being told, he then went into a coma where he remained for a couple months, from what I'm being told, then died. And at that point, the police contacted the promoter and the venue and said, we're investigating a death that occurred 2 months earlier at a Lamb of God show where supposedly the singer pushed this kid in the audience. They asked him, how do we get a hold of Randy Blythe? He goes, I don't know, he's left the country. And then again, it goes radio silence for 2 years until now. 2 years go by without attempting to reach anybody involved with Lamb of God? Does that make sense? It just boggles my mind. I mean, this is so surreal. It hasn't even hit me yet, but I mean, I just had to cancel the Full Force Festival in Germany for today. I had to cancel the Big Finish Festival for Sunday. And I'm sure you know, we have this major co-headline tour with Death Clock and Gojira scheduled to start August 1st. And I mean, tomorrow I could be told that this guy's going to be held in jail for a year. I don't know. I've been managing this band now for 8 years. And Randy, for the first 6.5 years, was always the wild card because of his drinking, et cetera, et cetera. And I got to tell you, in the last year, since the beginning of this record cycle, he's been my go-to guy. Every interview, every meet and greet, everything. I call him first now. It used to be Chris, and now it's been Randy because he's got his shit together so much. You know, I was just telling, his father just called me. I was just telling his father the story. I said, man, your son completely turned his life around. He's been incredible. And between you and I, my biggest fear is, you know, does this take him back to the dark side, an experience like this, which would be the worst thing to happen after he cleaned his life up, you know?
We've learned the lead singer of one of Richmond's most popular bands has been arrested and charged with manslaughter. He's being blamed for the death of a fan who jumped on stage at a concert more than 2 years ago.
Initially, we were very confused as to, you know, how could Randy possibly have a part in a homicide? He's obviously going to be out in 10 minutes, you know, once they figure out this is crazy. Within a couple days, we knew that they weren't just going to let it go. That's, I think, when it hit me, like, this is legit and fucked.
Since we believe that he is innocent, the prosecution don't believe it yet, and we need them to believe it firmly.
The biggest worry is that Randy gets convicted of this. He's facing 10 years in prison. That's a very, very long time.
The prosecutor is proposing the section C.
Yeah.
Which he,
And C.
yeah, which he did. That's for like a very high punishment, and if the high punishment is threatening, that there's a reason for custody. He is accused or charged with intentional causation of injury. Intentional, because if it was like, you know, if it was not intentional, he could not be in the custody.
So what you're saying is if it was negligence by American standards,
yes,
there would never be these issues. But
yes,
because he's claiming intent to harm, that's why all of a sudden we have this interesting, awkward situation.
It's highly likely that Randy will face charges. I do believe so. I think it's the state itself, particularly a prosecuting attorney, whose future probably this case itself would be impactful in whatever future that person has professionally. And as a result, I think it's unlikely they would pass on it. Yep, that's exactly what we're going to go through. 1, 2, and 3. You're going to see those so you understand.
Today we got this video that has surfaced, which obviously shows 3 instances of someone we all assume is the unfortunate Daniel that attended the show, attempting and gaining access to the stage and then jumping off.
Guys, there were 3 incidences that we have a long videotape. That videotape showed 3 incidences. The first one, it looks like Daniel, by the way, launches himself right off the stage, and that's how it is. The second one, the security guard, we believe, literally pushes him from the back, and all Randy is doing is just simply guiding him with his weak left hand to make sure that he doesn't fall into Randy while he's leaving the stage. Guys in the band, does anybody want to share anything further about number 2, or is that a good representation of what it sounds like? Perfect. Okay, let's move on then to the all-important number 3. In number 3, as we see, obviously, by the way, what appears to be the deceased is pulled back by security. It looks like he hits his head on the barricade, but he falls and then flips backwards. Clearly, a second later, we see him on the floor with his head in a position that looks like he's hit his head. We don't see it. Maybe I'm incorrect, but I don't see him literally hitting his head. And then subsequently, the security guard looks at him directly and appears to say in Czech something like, "Don't do that again," something in a sense making sure that he understands that his behavior is inappropriate. That would be my sum of number 3. Is that a good sum, guys, on your end?
I agree. I see the video and I can remember that from my perspective, being like, stop, dude. Like, I couldn't believe this kid didn't understand at that point that it was like, dude, you can't get up here. I don't know that it's the kid who died that's in the video, but every time the guy on the video leaves the stage, it looks like he could have had a fatal injury from his antics.
The atmosphere of what it is like to be at a metal show, and particularly one of ours, it's a frenzied environment. I mean, there's physical involvement at the entire show. I mean, that's what the show is. You know, that's your choice to make, is to go down into that environment.
I mean, I don't mean to be dramatic, but it's a little weird to answer some of those things. You know, when you're asking me about the environment at a heavy metal show, well, I've been asked that by cops and had to think very, very carefully how to answer that, you know, and what ramifications my answer might have.
To anybody outside of that, especially probably the prosecutors in Prague, they'd probably go to their Neil Diamond show and have their comfy box seat and pretzels and popcorn, and that's a rock concert. So I get it that they don't get it.
There's no malevolence or any kind of intent to harm anyone at any of these shows. That's the point that we need to get across to everybody holding Randy's fate in their hands.
What do you think about getting rid of? People seem to think that because we're on magazine covers that we are insanely wealthy. This is not the case. We do okay. There's tons of people that do a lot better. Lawyers being one of them. One group of people that do a lot better than us, and they're expensive.
Trying to find memorable gear to put up in this auction to benefit Randy. The legal fees are astronomical. And now we're actually setting up an online auction to help get through this. This is the first one they ever sent me, the prototype. It's bigger.
I mean, if selling it as the prototype, the first one, brings in more money. Like Obi-Wan, you let it go, it only becomes stronger. If I hadn't thought about Lamb of God not existing in my life before now, that would be the time to start. I have been in complete limbo. I have no idea. Hopefully this week will clear that up some, but at this point, you know, I'm still a member of the band that's trying like hell to get their singer out of jail. I mean, does anyone want the mannequin over there?
This is our lives. This is everything that we've built up, and this is the pinnacle of, you could carry this into something great. And now it's like, the last time that we were all here together at the Space was when we were all gung-ho gearing up to start the tour, and we were ready for the album to drop. All of us were extremely excited and in good spirits. You know, everything was going on. And now it's just like, what the fuck is happening?
Randy Blythe, the lead singer of Lamb of God, was arrested in Prague and charged with manslaughter in the death of a fan who police say Randy actually pushed off stage. Tonight, Sarah Bloom found out about a weekend rally. Sarah, his fans seem angry about this and are getting more vocal.
Lamb of God's lead singer, Randy Blythe, despite reportedly posting bond, is still behind bars.
The whole fight so far has been about bail. It's not even about really the evidence or the trial. We're still just trying to get him out of jail.
The support has been outstanding. A lot of the musicians that have spoken out realize this sets a precedent, I think, for all genres of music. This could easily happen to them at any show.
You're talking about a very exaggerated party environment, you know? And things happen all the time, but this is one of the first instances where, you know, at least in my career that I can think of, where somebody close to me has been, been arrested as a suspect for manslaughter because of somebody falling off of a stage.
I'm trying to simmer down and just to wait. It's just, this fucking waiting game is out of control. To know Randy is sitting over there after all of the beneficial things that he has done in order to grow and become who he is, that he's sitting over there is heartbreaking.
I don't feel that Randy's guilty of manslaughter. I don't feel that any of us are guilty of causing Daniel's death. But I feel terrible about Daniel's death.
You're all automatically kind of put into this defensive mode by knowing, Randy's in trouble. And at the same time, you're trying to balance out the emotion of, somebody losing their life at our show. So it's just, those two don't mix real well.
That's hard to wrap my head around, that happened. Regardless of what happened. That was the last event that he was able to attend. So it's sad.
And a family lost their son and brother.
So, as much as you want to talk about just that situation, how you feel?
I've never experienced that, so I couldn't begin to imagine that.
I don't want Daniel to get lost in all this, regardless of what you think, whether it was an accident or a negligent act or however you want to classify it. Daniel lost his life, and that's a tragedy. And I think about that every day.
Yeah, we're here waiting for Randy to get off the plane. We brought him some NA beer and a Porsche. So I hope he's gonna like it. Riding off into the sunset and disappearing from all this bullshit. Don't look for him in South America. So stupid.
It's emotional, I mean, the guy
I'm pretty sure I have back in my house that week because it's
doesn't know what to expect coming home, and everybody's just in such a questionable spot. It's hard to gauge how it's all going to go, but for the moment we have the band and the family that's come together here to celebrate it.
Got the bands back together. Let's put the band back together.
Oh,
God damn it! God damn it!
Dude, that was some ridiculousness.
Oh, I missed the fuck out of you. I know.
It's all right.
I know.
It'll get squared away, man. It was super fun.
Was it?
No, are you crazy? It sucked. It was horrible.
Best day ever.
We have 2 shows for the Slipknot Fest in Iowa and in Wisconsin. Us doing these 2 festivals, I think it's the synchronicity of the universe working out in my favor. It'll be a real homecoming for me in a way. There was a lot of support from my peers in the music industry and from our fans, and so to go and play for our fans is going to be really good.
When we got the word that he was actually coming home, I was like, honestly, this show was the furthest thing from my mind. I was like, just so stoked that he was coming home that it was almost an afterthought. I was like, oh wait, they can play now, you know, like. And when they said they were going to be a part of it, I mean, it just made it that much sweeter. So I know everyone's really excited for it.
And the fact that my freedom could be taken away from me is scary. I don't want to go to prison for 10 years. I don't want my life, I don't want that to happen, you know, but the fact of the matter is it could happen. You never know what'll happen. Yeah. Life shows up. I didn't know I was going to go to prison at all. And then it showed up in the form of the police at the Czech airport. You know, going to prison sucked, and being in prison was not fun. What I went through and the uncertainty I face now with maybe going to 5 to 10 years and having to stand trial is absolutely nothing compared to the trauma that this family is going through. You know, I feel ethically obliged to, at least if I'm called to go to trial, to go and give my side of the story and explain to the best of my knowledge what happened, you know, so they can get some closure, because it's awful, you know. I don't have guilt over this because I'm innocent. Yeah. But it feels awful inside to me. Yeah. Terrible.
I appreciate it, but I wish you all the fucking best.
Thanks, bro.
I've watched that man go through a lot of crap, you know, kind of what he's been through in his life, you know, and to see him healthy now, sober, you know, I mean, really, really standing up and being that person, you know, it makes me proud as his friend.
Thank God he's out. Seeing his first show back in the States. Can't wait.
I really, really look forward to the next time we take the stage. When I see him turn that corner and grab the mic, the whole place is gonna melt down. I mean, I know I am, you know, it's just gonna be incredible.
It's exciting for me as a fan, knowing that Lamb of God's gonna be playing. Randy's gonna be there, you know? And you're talking about the perfect crowd for it.
We've been a band now for something like 17 or 18 years. It's a really long time. And when it's taken away from you, not on your own terms, the things that I might have been annoyed with or even resented to a certain degree, I have a renewed appreciation for a lot of it.
It's almost going to be a rebirth to know that this whole stressful situation has happened and the whole future of the band in jeopardy. We need to come together as Lamb of God.
for Randy, man. We drove 660 miles. It's so not metal to get emotional, but that's the man, and it's what we came for. And we're just glad he's home, he's safe, and we can get on with fucking life and fucking metal, man. We fucking love you, Randy.
It's weird, you know, you get arrested for, you know, being responsible for the death of a fan. It's kind of crazy, and you get back on stage in front of, you know, 10,000 other fans, and they're still happy to see you. It's freaking weird, you know? It just, it made me happy that, I guess, you know, these people have the confidence in me and faith in me. They know that I'm not a bad dude. The thing that, for me to process after all this is done is, you know, that one of our fans is dead. And that's still going through my mind, and that I would be blamed for it. You know, it's a pretty heavy thing. I think about it all the time. It's like walking around with a fucking lead helmet on all the time. One of the fans said that must feel like what it's like for you walking around with a lead helmet. And it is, and when it's over with, however it turns out, it's, you know, I'm still gonna have a lot of processing to do. When we started this movie, we really wanted to draw some attention to the fans and to talk about how, you know, not necessarily just our music, but heavy metal, punk, hardcore, and, you know, underground music in general helps them in their life. I just really like the idea of turning the cameras away from us. Now the cameras have been turned back on me due to the unfortunate turn of events in the Czech Republic. So for me, the challenge is to have a happy ending to my problem. I don't know how that's gonna have to be played out in court. You know, I'm gonna be honest in court. That's the whole thing, this kid's family, man. You need some honesty. You need to know what happened, and I want to explain it to them the best of my ability. Look them in the eye if I have to and tell them. I honestly, what I would like to happen is to be found not guilty and them say, okay, because I'm not guilty. However, I think the cards are stacked against me. What am I gonna do, yell at the trees? I don't wanna go to prison, you know? I can only enjoy the moment right now. That's why I like coming up here. That's pretty awesome right there. The story's going pretty good at this very second, but it's not a story I can write, it's just a story I can live and hope for the best. We'll see what happens. Now, will he reject those questions after they've been asked? Will he say that question has already been asked, or will he wait until I answer?
Probably he will say, oh, I asked it, so do not ask again.
The trial starts tomorrow, so it's just been really brutal, like, preparing for this case, you know? I have to open the whole proceedings. Unlike America, I had to write an opening statement, and my Czech lawyer at first said, I said, how long should it be? You know, thinking 10 minutes. He's like, an hour. Dobrý den. My name is David Randall Blythe, better known to thousands around the globe as Randy simply. I've returned to the Czech Republic to face the charge against me, that of manslaughter. And the judge will ask questions. Then the prosecutor will ask questions, and he'll come at me really hard.
Ready? I'm going to hit you pretty hard just from the beginning. So you're saying, by the way, people were touching you, seemed to be irritated by that. Were you irritated by that? That people were touching you right from the beginning?
Not necessarily. Irritated is a rather strong word.
Have you been drunk during the show?
Absolutely not.
Can you explain why some witnesses characterized your behavior as aggressive during the Prague performance?
Our on-stage persona is aggressive. I'm not going to get up there and smile and act like Stevie Winwood with a tambourine while I'm playing Lamb of God. It's merely an aspect of the stage show.
So you must know that if you push somebody, he fall down from the stage.
No, not necessarily at all.
And why is that?
Why not?
Because
there were 19 witnesses, I suppose, reading all their testimonies, looking at all the discrepancies in them, all the holes in it, which I have no memory of, by the way, of ever seeing this young man who is dead.
Okay.
Do you know what stage diving means?
People that run on stage, sometimes they immediately jump off, sometimes they run up. It's hard enough to explain to anyone why jumping off a stage is, even an option. Most people think that's crazy. Why would you jump off of a stage and hope that people catch you, or slam dancing? Why would they all mosh into each other, slam into each other? Why would they do that?
And what does it mean, moshing?
Moshing is the same term as slam dancing. Every now and then I'll start getting really nervous, a little scared, to be honest. But, I'm an innocent man. No matter what happens, they can't make me guilty. And I feel absolutely terrible for the family and the friends of Mr. Nosek. I feel terrible that Mr. Nosek died, but I also don't want to suffer the consequences and be punished as a result of an act that I didn't commit. So thank you very much. Okay.
Yeah, so the trial is supposed to last a week. And one key difference here is that there are no jury trials here. So the case that involves Randy Blythe is being heard by 3 judges. There's one presiding judge. To the judge's right, you have the prosecution team. Now, in this case, it's only one prosecutor. And then, of course, to the left of the judge is Randy Blythe's defense team. During the trial, it's the witnesses addressing the judges. The judges ask questions, the prosecutor can ask questions. And then on the final day, Randy Blythe then gets a closing statement. Then the judge would consider the verdict.
Spoustu diváků během představení odcházelo. Proto je nutno věnovat velkou pozornost tomu, co který svědek viděl, co mohl vidět a co zaznamenal. Je potřeba si tedy udělat časový snímek celého koncertu. Velkým pomocníkem, zejména v té první části, je záznam, který si pořídil jeden z diváků během koncertu.
Přijeli jsme na ten koncert zhruba půl hodiny před tím počátkem, nebo nějaký takovýhle čas. Přiznám se, že ty okolnosti vzhledem k tomu, že je to už přes 2 roky zpátky, tak už jsou poněkud mlhávější. Okolo 20 minut možná mohlo být do konce koncertu, nejsem si jistý, že to přece jenom delší dobu. Náš kamarád, se kterým jsme tam byli, pan Nosek, vylezl vlastně na pódium, kde si dle mého soudu špatně vyložil výrok zpěváka. Vylezl tady přímo na pódium v bodě, kdy se na to pódium dostavil, tak byl panem Randallem Blythem svržen do publika zpátky, kde došlo k poranění hlavy. Panem Randallem Blythem. Tím jsem si 100% jistý.
Seděl tam na lavice, donesl jsme mu vodu, se napil. A když jsme šli pak ven z klubu, tak Daniel začal zvracet, tak jsme hnedka ten okamžik volali záchranku. tak ho odvezli a vlastně až další den mě volali rodiče, že se dozvěděli, že má krvácení do mozku.
We believe that it's very likely that because Daniel's language, as we understand, we think his English was limited, as were others, it seems to us very clear that he misunderstood and actually went ahead and climbed when he had no permission to do so. And as a result, the tragic accident happened afterwards.
And we need sound for this.
Yeah, this is sound if you got it for the computer.
Earlier that year.
Come on, not come up. Come on.
Sounds like almost as if I'm saying come up. It's completely fucked up. This would be laughed out of court in the States. But I'm not in the States, I'm in the Czech Republic. And it felt like the right thing to do to come back, even though it fucking sucks. So sometimes doing the right thing isn't the most comfortable thing. What can you do, man?
Well, we first heard about it when Randy Blythe was arrested at Prague airport. So of course, as soon as we saw that an American singer had been arrested in Prague, we knew it was going to be a pretty big deal for us. The impression I get, certainly coming from the United States, is this shouldn't have happened. You know, there shouldn't have been a fan up on the stage. Most of the witnesses talked about one particular fan getting on stage. They said that Randy held him down and the fan was then pushed off. Now, one of the witnesses said it was a security guard that pushed the fan off. Another witness said it was Randy Blythe that did it.
Tonight is the very first night we play in the Czech Republic, motherfuckers. Are you guys ready to have a good time?
Back last summer, we had all these videos come out. Both sides were trying to present that as an argument. And I certainly know Larry Mazur, the Lamb of God manager, was saying, you know, look, this video clearly shows the security guard throwing a fan off the stage. Now, in the court, we had the full 30-minute amateur video, from where the clips were taken originally. Randy Blythe said this guy had tried to get on stage several times. He was always noticing him. One of the times he got down, knelt on him, shouted in his ear, "Don't come on stage," or words to those effect. The irony of all of this, that the man in that video is definitely not the fan who died, Daniel. That the videos that we were seeing were not of Daniel Nosek.
2 years after the concert in Avaton, a video. It was a video. I saw a video with me.
No, právě jako já bych do toho nějak ani nevstupoval do celého soudního martyria ani do všeho. Ale já jsem sám kontaktoval Blesk, prostě, že jsem byl všude a bylo mi to dost nepříjemný, to, že ty videa a ty fotky jsou se mnou, nikoli s tím poškozeným, a ať to teda jakoby justice řeší zvlášť.
Aktivním účastníkem se soudu známo, protože se tam
třetí, čtvrtý písničce, tam si chtěl skočit z pódia prostě do lidí, tak jsem tak učinil a zdálo se, že to je v rámci prostě koncertu.
Já si myslím, že jsme na pódium zvaný nebyli, ale já jsem to prostě přesto jakoby 3krát zkusil, no, a bohužel tu otázku si moc nedokážu teďka přeložit, takže nevím. A že Randy, ten kontakt, co měl se mnou, byl si myslím adekvátní, takže...
The one incident that most people seem to remember and seem to corroborate on was the fact that Milan Požadek came off stage. He's fine in all of this. Unfortunately, the fan who died, Daniel Nosek, nobody seems quite sure how exactly that happened. All of Daniel's friends said, yes, Randy Blythe did push Daniel off, but there's been some discrepancies in the exact version of events, so it's very difficult to pin down exactly what happened. That's not surprising because this happened 3 years ago nearly now, so it's very difficult to remember exact events. I mean, you know, some of us struggle to remember what happened last week, let alone 3 years ago. So that is entirely understandable, and I think that's going to be one of the key things in this trial. How reliable are the witness testimonies given the time that has passed?
There's my clock. That overlooks the yard. Holy cow. Hopefully I'll never have to go back in there again. It's not nice in there.
Myslím si, nejsem s tím 100% jistý, myslím si, že to bylo v nějaké takovéhle formě asi.
Takže on udělal ze zadu nebo ze strany ze zadu?
To se přiznám, že si nevybavím už úplně přesně.
Když ze zadu a ten vypadal rovnou, tak vypadne na čelo, že jo, na hlavu. Ano, nepamatuji si, jo, já skutečně nechci, abyste se tady použili nějakou spekulaci.
Ne, to radši si nepamatuji.
Mladý člověk a chlastá kafe.
Když bych to přirovnal, řekněme, tady ten pult, který je tady, a to pódium by bylo de facto ve stejné výši.
Záznamu, který jsme mohli teď vidět, těžko jsou vidět jakékoliv bariéry. Pódia nebyly vzdáleni 1,5 m, 2 metry, tak aby tam byl takzvaný pit, kde by měli být ochranka sekuritáci, kteří nedovolí fanouškům stoupit na pódium.
Byla na koncertu nějaká ochránka?
Byla.
Zasahovala nějakou fanouškovi?
Myslím, že nejsem si toho vědomý, pokud zasahovala, tak neměla moc šanci, protože byla poměrně vzdálená na stranách. Nebo...
The most of the witnesses are very confused about what they have seen.
There are a lot of contradictions, but it depends on the judge.
Nicméně měl dostatek svých znalostí, aby věděl, že v okamžiku, když někoho strčí z pódia, že tam může dojít k tomuhletomu smrtelnému následku.
13 odstavec 1.2 trestního řádu se předkládají tedy stranám fotografie poškozeného Daniela Noska z prvé poloviny roku 2010, případně z roku 2009. Pane státní zástupče, chcete nahlédnout na ty fotografie, které jsou součástí spisu? Obhajoba předložím je, protože já jsem tedy neměl ve spisovém materiálu, neměl jsem možnost vidět, zaregistroval tuto osobu během toho vlastně listinnému materiálu, fotografickému materiálu, chcete nějakým způsobem vyjádřit, protože toto je poškozený Daniel.
Yeah, I do not recognize him.
Ne, nepoznávám ho.
I wish I did.
Jako přeji si, abych ho poznal, ale...
Dobře, a jinak tedy bez dalšího vyjádření. Na tohoto člověka, na tuto osobu si nepamatujete z toho koncertu?
Ne. Nebo pán ukazuje hlavou, nebo gestikuluje hlavou, kroutí hlavou, jakože ne.
To stejně nevrátí. Na základě veškeré svědecké výpovědi, které jsme zde slyšeli, tak si ani nemyslíme, že úplná vina je na straně obžalovaného, nebo 100%, že tam bylo několik okolností, které přispěli k tomu závěru, který se stal. Pana Randyho Blytha, aby si uvědomil, že moje sestra měla jedinýho syna. Už nikdy neoslaví své narozeniny, protože Daniel zemřel v den svých den narozenin otce, že moje sestra pravděpodobně na základě svého psychického stavu nebude schopná nějaké dlouhodobější práce. Bývá to lepší, bývá to lepší, bývá to taky hodně špatné. No, děkuji.
Taky děkuji, pane zmocněnče. A kdo za obhajobu přednese závěrečný návrh? Tak prosím.
From what I'm understanding from the translations and his leading questions to the witnesses and all the questions, to me it feels like he's going to say guilty negligence.
Yeah.
I don't
Me
think...
too, because he's asking, if you pushed, okay, you pushed. The second one, if you are threatened or not.
I don't think there's a chance for me to be exonerated. That would be nice. What I think is going to happen is they're going to find me guilty of a lesser charge. So do you think he's trying to say manslaughter?
I don't think so. There is still negligence. There can be still negligence because you count on the people that the court called them.
I've heard the word negligent homicide thrown around. It's a little bit less brutal sounding than manslaughter, but it's still not something you really want attached to your name, homicide. But I think that's what's going to happen. I'll be sentenced anywhere from between 0 to 6 years in prison.
The witnesses differ from each other, and we have 5, 6 versions of what happened.
That is perfectly true. Yes.
I think we still fight for
Exoneration.
exoneration.
Poslednímu slovu.
This is the final word now,
Yeah, the final word.
Ano.
Sure.
Bude to velice krátké.
This has been a very sad and emotional experience for me.
Toto byla pro mě velice smutná a citlivá zkušenost.
But I've tried to remain objective as possible because my emotions have no impact
Protože moje city nemají žádný účinek.
on what is important to me and to the family.
Co je důležité pro mě a pro rodinu Daniela Noska.
Which is the truth.
A to je pravda.
The situation is sad to me, not just because of Daniel's death, but also because of the pain his family feels.
Ale je to také kvůli té bolesti, kterou jeho rodina prochází.
Daniel was a fan of my band.
Daniel byl fanouškem mé skupiny.
I had no wish to harm him.
A neměl bych přání, nebo nepřál bych si ho zranit.
He was just a boy.
Byl to pouze kluk.
I wish he was still here.
A já bych si přál, aby tady stále byl. Děkuji vám, to je vše.
Taky děkuji. Posaďte se. Takže teď na hlavní líčení přerušíme za účelem tedy porady Senátu. Následně dojde k vyhlášení. A teď všechny věci sebou. Praze rozhodl v hlavním líčení konaném dne 5.3.2013 v Senátě složeném z předsedy Senátu magistra Tomáše Kubovce a přísedících Petra Smutného a Ilony Balešové takto. Obžalovaný David Randy Blythe, narozen 21.2.1971 ve Fort Meade v Marylandu, občan USA, trval bytem USA, Virginia, Richmond, South Meadow Street, 1314, zpěvák. Zprošťuje obžaloby Městského státního zastupitelství v Praze ze dne 30.11.2012, kterou mu bylo kladeno za vinu, že dne 24.5.2010 v době mezi 21.30 až 22.45 v klubu Abaton v ulici na Košince v Praze 8 v průběhu koncertu skupiny Radvan tím, že zpívá
And now that it's been, a few weeks and it's been able to settle in and time has passed, it's becoming a reality that, okay, we're Lamb of God again, and this machine, it has just become stronger due to everything that's taken place.
Like, she looked at me and they're translating, and when he read it, he goes, "The charges have been removed for you," or something like that. And I was like, "What does that mean?" She's like, "Not guilty." I'm like, "Okay, what's next?" She goes, "I think it means nothing.
Victor is here.
You go home now." And I'm like, "I don't know." And then about,
right?
I wasn't ready. And then like all of a sudden, like Jeff leans over and he goes, "Exonerated, total exoneration." And so
Randy's actions through this have been truly inspiring. I think about stuff that I have to face from here, and I just reference what he's been through.
His flanging, I think.
When we were naming the record Resolution, he was like, "I want it to be Resolution. For me, it means staying on a path no matter what." And that was like his big thing about the title of the record. And you watch the trajectory of what happened, the dude's character was true.
You guys want to play? Something real slow and easy, right? Walk with me now.
Walk with me in hell.
Seems always appropriate.
Maybe more than any other genres of music I can think of, this music and these bands speak to you. And sometimes they speak to you in such a way that they influence you. At first, they make you feel like you're not alone, but then, when you go deeper, they help us look at ourselves and they help us process the things we're going through. They're represented in the values that you espouse and that you maybe begin by espousing them, but in turn learn to live by. I think Randy could be a case study on that. It has been inspiring to see him walk the talk.
The music I listen to and the music I make means something. The reason why I got into this music, and I got into it through punk rock, is because when I first heard it, for me it was the Sex Pistols and the song was Holidays in the Sun. I could tell it meant something. My core values were in place, but have certainly been molded by the whole music scene. So for me, you can talk all day long about what you believe in, but when push comes to shove, are you going to do what you believe in? And I can't go around espousing personal responsibility and saying how screwed up the world is in my songs if I don't act like that, you know? I'm not an actor in a play. I'm a dude living his life the best I can.
Well, you know, we set out to kind of prove how, you know, this, even in the harshest environments and with the harshest music, you could show kind of this common bond among our fans. And I think, yeah, what we ran into was some of the harshest conditions that a band could go through. And we've been through a lot together. We've been through the fist fights. We've been through the ups and downs. And now we've been through this really traumatic event together. So, you know, I would dare to say that until one of us dies, I think we're stuck together.